Alright, now this is part 2 of the TerrorScout-com S15D setup instructions. So we're going out to fill in the machines. We've built the basic shell already in the initial instructions. So now we're going to be going out with a carrier ornithopter and a cargo pod with the equipment, materials. So these are the materials that I'm taking out. We're taking out 1,000 industrial grade lubricant. We're taking out some plastone and additional fuel cells for the decorative stuff. We're also taking out 108 standard filters because we've got enough slots for that instead of taking out the aluminum and plant fiber. We have also the stuff for the agassides for the other light, and then plant fiber for the carpet. We've got materials for the and then what we have here is we have the materials for our wind traps, for our water cisterns, for our storage boxes, for our survival fabricator, for our chemical refiner, for our vehicle fabricator advanced, for our 10 advanced turbines, and for our advanced refiner, and also for our large spice refiner. I seem to have some issues with getting out. base in A1 to finish at the build out. Alright, we're coming in, and so we're going to drop off the cargo pod in one of the cargo pod slots. Dropped in. Now we're going to land our carrier in the main ornithopter bay. Now that we've landed, we'll need to take and offload our materials. First thing we offload is aluminum and silicon blocks to build our larger container boxes to offload the rest of our cargo. Alright, now that we've offloaded all of our cargo into the containers, we can go ahead and build the rest of the containers and machines out. Now, before we build any of the large machines, we want to build our power generators so we have enough power to power them. Otherwise, we would have to turn them off to keep the shields up. Now we've got all of our advanced turbines built. Now I want to use our console to distribute the fuel to them. They're all set up to be accessible here, so you can turn them on and off and adjust fuel manually if you need to. So if you wanted to be running the base at low power, you would come in here and turn all of these off. Here under the general, you would just disable them, and then you can save fuel. So that's one of the reasons they're all here where they're set up so that they can be easily gotten to while they're running and after they're built. Here we see from the first video we had some of these Slido projections that disappeared. Now they've returned, so it looks like that they were there, but now they're removed. So we want to take and remove those if we could. So that's one of the glitches you seem to constantly find with the build system. Here you see where we have access to the cargo pod if we want to, and we also have ability to walk around it to get through. And here you see that it's marked as safe. Now we're going to want to apply our fuel to our generators. Now we have a little bit over 7 days of power, and we have full power of 4,025 kilowatts. Our water is at 425,000 milliliters, but this will be 1.12 and so on million once we build all the cisterns. We now build out our machines. Looks like I miscalculated the cobalt paste, so I'll need to get some more of that. Now we'll build out our wind traps. Once you have your wind traps built and some water storage, you want to get them started so they can begin filling up your water. The set 18 wind traps will be able to fill up your 1.12 million water every 24 hours. They hold 6 filters, and you can if you can, you want to wait here and make sure that they're activated. I know that these all should work because I've used them before, but here you can see that it's actually harvesting water. Alright, all our wind traps are now loaded with filters. Now we return back. One of the things you might notice is these are so close that your character tends to stick. What you do is you just wiggle back and forth slightly as you go by. I like to hit either the A or the D as I... And you'll basically be able to slide right past them, the backs. Now I need to fill out the rest of the water cistern. And those were mainly in these two rooms down here. Seems that I may have not brought all of the materials I thought I did. Okay, it looks like I need materials for 23 more water cisterns. Mainly steel for 23 more water cisterns. And 75 cobalt paste, as well as some additional granite for some of the decorative stuff. looks like we're running into some bugs, so I'm going to have to log out and log back in. Alright, that should be 30 seconds, so now we should be able to log back in. Seems to be working now. Okay, I don't have enough steel here, so I'm going to have to go to the other base to get steel. Now let's go get the cobalt paste. Alright, so we need 23 times 30, so it should be 690. We're also going to take some additional granite for the cosmetic items. Alright, now we've unloaded into the containers. Let's see if we have enough materials now. Now, what I like to do is I like to set the chemical refiners to output on channel 2, the ore refiners on channel 3, and the spice refiners on channel 4. These are output boxes that are meant for the chemical refiner. By filling the chemical or refiner's internal inventory with something like ammo, filling all 5 slots with 1 takes and makes it so that it automatically outputs to this output circuit instead of storing any internally. So then that would give you all of it sent out to circuit 2, which are our chem out boxes, which are these 2 boxes here. Next, we have these 5 boxes, which we'll use for our ingot output. And that's on circuit 3. And you can copy paste into the box name. Now we have our refiner and our ingots going out to circuit 3. Now we have the spice refiner on circuit 4. Now we've got our spice refiner outputting to circuit 4. And those are these boxes here. We've got our large ore refiner outputting to channel 3, which are these ingot boxes here. And we've got our chemical refining output to channel 2, which are these boxes here. These boxes here are our drop boxes. Now let's fill in the rest of our decorative items. We actually need more salvage metal. There was a scrap metal spawn right under the base. Maybe it's not respawning stuff when they're in the build zone anymore. there's the scrap metal that should have been right under the base. Here's another one out here. Alright, now our RP stuff's all here ready if we have any guests. We now have our 1.134 million water. It's being filled up by our 18 wind traps. That'll fill up every day, every 24 hours. Got our 29 aluminum boxes and one regular small box for our storage. We've got 6 days and 5 hours, which we need to pack up before then. We've got 830 building pieces. Now what happens is, in the deep desert, you always take damage to your external blocks and your pentashields. So there will be a few pieces of granite as well as plastone and for the external pieces, and then also servoxes, calibrated servoxes, cobalt paste, and steel that are needed for the pentashields. Because there's 11 pentashields, so it'll be like 11 steel, 11 servoxes, and 11 cobalt paste you have to replenish, as well as, you know, topping off your granite for your external pieces and plastone if you're building those plastone pieces. This is kind of annoying, so I'm going to build a floor to keep me from falling through. There we go. Now our build out should be complete. Now, one of the things is that if you build these additional supports, they're needed on the Solido projection in order to deploy the base without difficulty. Machines, if you have just the Solido projections, they will take and show up on your Solido pattern. But if you have blocks like the floors, the walls, the foundations that are Solido projections but not built, they won't show up on the Solido pattern. So if you build out all these pieces, you can then take and make another Solido for the next time you go to deploy this base. So there I've made another Solido. You should see I have that little floor down there. I've made another Solido copy of this base, which I can now take and deploy again. Now, this is just a Solido replicator because I did not name the base. You can rename the Solido here. So now you know what this is. Then once if you've renamed your base, you can then take and make a Slido projection, and it will take and it will apply the custom name. So I've blanked this one out and then make a new copy. Now I have the custom name here. And the reason I put TerrorScout-com is because I have a domain name, TerrorScout.com, and I then have a link there that goes to my YouTube channel so that you could actually go and look up this base and see what the instructions were that I'm making here, because the system for deploying the pre-built bases is so complicated that it's not really usable without detailed instructions. In a lot of cases, you may want to increase the security on your console. Some people who don't have the high enough security rating on your console, when they log off and log back in, they'll be dumped out of your build zone or down to the bottom below the base, so they can't stay inside through a login. And there has been a bunch of bugs and stuff with security that people may be able to bypass lower security settings, although it's not guaranteed because it keeps going back and forth. As they bring in the new features, it seems like they undo all their bug fixes. Alright, so that should conclude the construction of the S15D Mark 8. Take a drink of water, look out the window, and get to farming.